I'd like to thank everybody very much for coming today. At this time, we will turn matters over to Director of Athletics, Don Oberhelman.
Thank you, Gino. Hold your applause, please. Thank you, everybody, for coming on such short notice. I know the alert went out late last night, and I do understand this has probably been the worst kept secret in the history of the United States, from what I've heard. But it is my distinct pleasure and an honor to introduce and welcome our new head soccer coach, Steve Sampson. Before I turn it over to Steve, who I know you guys want to hear from, I do want to make a couple of comments. We had some staff that helped with that search, and I want to recognize them. Dr. Ken Walker, our faculty athletic rep, Chris Baker, our associate athletic director, Barbara Martinez, our assistant athletic director, and Jenny Ashcroft, our assistant track coach, all served a pivotal role. There are also some former soccer players. It's clear that we've got a great alumni base, former players that care very, very deeply about the program, and I want to mention a couple of those guys. Mac Pridham, George Malky, Pat Sigler, and Anthony Grillo. I just want to thank you guys for your counsel, your advice, and your wisdom as we went through this process. I also want to thank Paul Holliher for his efforts at Cal Poly. He certainly elevated our program, did a wonderful job, and our interim head coach this past season, Phil Ruskin, did really a remarkable job leading our program through a difficult time, and we wish them nothing but the best. It is clear, in my opinion, that we have some of the best soccer fans in the United States. So why shouldn't we have one of the most accomplished head coaches in the history of the United States lead our program? Steve has coached championship teams at every single level. He won a national championship at Santa Clara as the head coach, was the U.S. national team coach, led the United States in international competition, including the World Cup. The MLS, the LA Galaxy, led them to both the MLS Cup and the U.S. Open Cup. So he truly has competed at the highest level in soccer in the United States. We're not just welcoming Steve, we're welcoming his entire family, and I do want to welcome Sherry, his lovely wife Sherry, if you could stand up and be recognized. Sherry Samson. One of the most, Steve, if you read his bio, there's some really amazing statistics and an amazing background that he has. But the most impressive one to me is the fact that he's the first American-born to lead the U.S. national team. Not only that, he's the first American-born coach to lead an international team in Costa Rica in international competition. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's very, very impressive, and we're so excited that he's brought his expertise to us. I believe that Steve's values as an educator, as a leader, as a mentor, and as a developer of young men aligns perfectly with the values that we look for in our head coaches. We've spent time talking about the Mustang Way, and it's clear that his values, even though he never heard of it before he came to Cal Poly, he's been practicing it his entire life. I'm so delighted and proud to have him lead our program, and I'd like to welcome him to the podium. Your new head coach, Steve Sampson. Got to get him a scarf.
I got to put this on the right way. All right. Well, I don't have notes, and the reason I don't have notes is because it's going to be very easy for me to talk about this school and this opportunity. I truly feel blessed to be back in the college game. College game was 9 years of my life, both at UCLA and Santa Clara universities, where we won national championships, and truly 9 of the best years of my life. My wife knows that aside being around my family, I feel most comfortable on the soccer field. And I know that I'm going to feel very, very comfortable here Little bit of a story to tell you just so how I'm connected with the university. My son actually graduated here in the School of Architecture. Unfortunately, it took him 6 years to do so, and we're still paying for that. But very proud of him because I know how hard the School of Architecture is here. And then during his junior year, when we were going around and visiting schools, we came to Cal Poly, and we actually came to Cal Poly on Wow Week. And I thought, wow, what does that mean? Are they going to try to wow everybody here? But it truly is a week of welcome. And he was a junior at the time, and we actually had the opportunity to sit in on, over at the Fine Arts Building, the speech by the then president of the university. The president spoke, students spoke. He turned to me and he said, I really love this place. This is where I want to be. And the president and the students spoke about learning by doing. And that's really up my alley from the standpoint that athletics is literally learning by doing. And this university obviously has a very, very high standard academically, which I feel very comfortable with. Wanted that for my son, and I certainly want to be around those kinds of student athletes. We fell in love over those 6 years of following my son and his progress here at the university. We fell in love with the school, we fell in love with the student body, we fell in love with the soccer program, we fell in love with the community. All the way from Buellton all the way to Paso, and the beautiful beaches and the great wine country and the great feel that you have downtown San Luis Obispo, which is truly a great college town. I went to UCLA, I went to Foothill Junior College, I went to San Jose State, and I went to Stanford. And I understand what a good feel is, and this is a good feel. You feel it walking around this campus, you feel it when you're introduced to other staff here on the athletic staff. I just had the opportunity to walk down here with the quarterback of the football team, and that's what I really love about being on a college campus, is the opportunity to interact with not just great soccer players, but to interact with people from all sorts of backgrounds, and in an environment where they're trying to grow, make life decisions, and excel on and off the field. I want to be a part of that. When I was approached at the opportunity of coaching here at Cal Poly, I think, Don, it took about 5 seconds for me to respond with my high level of interest. I too want to thank Don for everything that he's gone through and this process and working through all the details. I really enjoyed meeting the players this morning, and quite frankly, with all due respect, that was the best part of my day. And I really am sorry that I won't be able to work with a guy like Stevie Palacios, who is a truly talented young man and one that has a bright future, and unfortunately he's a senior this year, and so I won't be able to work with him, but I know he has a bright future ahead of him. And certainly we have an incredible group of young men coming back. I expect it to be a very, very competitive team. We expect to raise the standards. One of the most enjoyable things and proud things of my life was in Santa Clara we had a 95% graduation rate. And that's what I want for this group as well, if not more. And I know they're great student athletes as well. So to my wife, who are all the coaches in here who are married know that your spouses are, the best thing that ever happened in your life, because to be married to a coach is a very, very difficult thing. I am blessed with a saint as far as I'm concerned. She's had to put up with me traveling all over the world, being with different national teams, professional teams, being gone from the house and raising kids, and she knows what it means to to support a coach, and certainly a coach cannot be successful without the support of their family. And I'm very fortunate in having that. I absolutely am so excited, and I can't emphasize that enough. Everything you see with respect to the Mustang way, all those things I stand for. All those things I want to help grow and develop here at Cal Poly. I also want to thank the alums who are here that have played here, sacrificed here, supported the program. You guys are really the foundation of this program. Facilities like this don't happen without you guys. We are truly blessed, like Don said and Chris said, with that we have some of the best fan base in the country. And we're not only going to try to get 11,000 here for the Santa Barbara game. We're going to work with the community to get lots of people out here, not just from the student body, but we're going to dive into that community, and we're going to embrace the Hispanic community. We're going to embrace the soccer community, the Anglo community, and we're going to make them know what this soccer program is all about. We want to embrace them such that they come and support this team all throughout the fall season. So, very honored, very privileged, and I look forward to hopefully a very, very long stay here. Thank you very much.
At this point, we'd like to invite questions from our assembled media. For the first round, we'll have 3 questions apiece, and then we can address any more questions after that. We just ask that you please give your media affiliation and speak into the mic, please. Questions for Steve and Don. JD?
First?
Yes.
Okay. JD Scroggin with the Tribune. Coach, what specifically can be done here to elevate Cal Poly beyond where it's gone? You know, was it 1 or 2 NCAA berths, 2 since Paul took over, and to get to the next level?
Well, I think Don has hired a coach that has, far-reaching contacts, not just here in California, but outside of California, if not all around the world. So in as much as I'm extremely proud of the returning group, we're always going to try to improve and find talent out there to consistently be competitive, not just to win conference championships, to be a part of NCAA championships. And my background is such that give me a little bit of time and we'll hopefully bring the big prize here. But I know that the support of the athletic director and the direction that Don is taking this program will allow me to do that.
Yeah, well, what further tools, need to be here at Cal Poly, and how good can this program be?
I really believe the sky's the limit. If you're asking if we can win a national championship here, absolutely. There's no question in my mind that we can win national championships here. Whether or not we do that next year or the following year, we don't know. But it's certainly every single year that's going to be the objective. Certainly getting more community support out here so that, we have a phenomenal, you have a phenomenal, we have now, I guess I could say we now, a phenomenal fan support base, but getting larger crowds for every single home game will help the guys so that when they walk out on that field that they feel special, and that's important to have that home field advantage. I think the financial resources here are more than sufficient. I had a lot less at Santa Clara. I had 2 scholarships at Santa Clara when we won a national championship. So it isn't just about the money. It's about the quality of individual and the commitment of the players and the character of the players. And I'm sure there's other resources on this campus that we can, make ourselves available to, but I will get after that.
And for Don, can I ask you one? At one point did you reach out to Steve, and how many others were interviewed and considered?
We interviewed several, but Steve was our target really from the get-go. I first actually reached out to Steve to kind of help serve as an advisor to me. I knew how well connected Steve was in soccer circles, And if there's a coach out there that would be qualified and good for our job, he knows who that is. He just was fortunate enough to say yes when I said, is there absolutely anything we can do to get you interested in this job? He paused for about 3 seconds and then said, well, yes. And from that moment on, I knew we had our at least our target. I hate to act like we were hunting Steve or something, but he was the choice from the first moment I talked to him. I knew this is a guy that really knows how to lead and develop young men.
Coach Owen Main from fansmanship.com. After all the experience that you've had, U.S. men's national team, LA Galaxy, winning national titles, what's the motivation or impetus for you to come back to the college game?
That's a great question, because a lot of people have asked me that same question. Why college now? Certainly since I left the Galaxy in 2006, I've had other opportunities to coach in the MLS and coach internationally. Bottom line is that over those 30 years of coaching, I spent approximately 6 months away from home and didn't have an opportunity to connect with a community, family and friends. I didn't have an opportunity to spend a lot of time with them. When I was in the college ranks, it was a great balance. It was a great balance of the ability to be involved at a very high level, working with 18 to 24, 25-year-old men. At the same time, helping them on the path of answering the question, what do you want to do in life? Don mentioned that I am an educator. I would classify myself as an educator coach, with educator first. And I love this environment. Not to say that I didn't absolutely love, being in the Rose Bowl with 100,000 people and having my hand over my heart, singing the national anthem. Certainly that's one of the greatest privileges that any coach could have. But when you really analyze things, it's the relationships and the strong relationships that you have with the players at this level that has attracted me to come back to the college game.
Yeah, you talk about the relationships. Earlier this season, I think even one of the players on Cal Poly mentioned coming to Cal Poly kind of on a recommendation by you, I think, in a story that JD wrote. What's your relationship like with any of the current players? How much familiarity do you have with the current roster as it stands?
Well, there's a number of them back there that I think I know pretty well. If I'm not here present in the stadium, I was, watching them online and I was texting them and congratulating them and offering advice, and I have a very good feel for the vast majority of the current players on this team. I've worked with them in camps and clinics in the past, and I not only appreciate their soccer ability, but also the quality of human being that I came to know as well. So for me, it's going to be an easy process, although now it's going to be even more demanding. Now it's going to be more intimate, and now it's going to be an opportunity for me to really dive deep into their own personal development and also the team's development, and I look forward to that.
Style of play wise, last question from me. Style of play wise, it's been a big talking point for the last few years in terms of a possession oriented style of play, and maybe focus on the process, hoping that the results come, and maybe never got quite where they wanted to be with that. What's important to you as a head coach in terms of style of play?
So I was the assistant national team coach for the '94 World Cup under Bora Milutinovic. And it was completely appropriate at that time for the team to play what he would term a very defensive, conservative style of soccer. When I took over in '95 as an interim coach, it was my opportunity to sort of unleash the American spirit. And unleashing the American spirit is all about attacking-minded, playing to win as opposed to playing not to lose. And that's the spirit that I want to bring here. We are going to play a sophisticated style of soccer. Soccer here at Cal Poly, under the previous coaches, has developed and progressed dramatically. They play a beautiful brand of soccer. The only change that I would make is that I want to be, one, relentless in defending, and I also want to be more dynamic going forward. I want us looking to go to goal sooner. I want us to looking at getting behind players. I want to give players the freedom to attack and go at defenses. And I think that's going to be a style that's going to be very attractive to the community here and the students to come and watch.
Travis Clark, KSBY. Coach, with all your international experience, how does that translate to the college level? Is there certain aspects on that level that you can use on this field on a college level?
Well, the game is the game, and there's a lot of competent college coaches, not only in the Big West, but all over the country that are now playing an exceptional brand of soccer. One that translates very well to players playing at the next level in the MLS or overseas. Certainly understanding what the demands are at the professional international level allows me very quickly to understand exactly how the demands are going to translate to our training sessions and the expectations during the matches. One of the things that, with my experience, that affords me is I see things very quickly. I see the breakdowns very quickly. And hopefully prior to that, I'll be able to impart that to my players such that they see it quickly. One of the beautiful things about the game of soccer is that it's truly a player's game. There's no timeouts during a soccer game. And so literally all of your training and your coaching has to be done during the week. So my ability to impart that to the players and to give them the freedom to make decisions on the field, much like an on-field assistant coach, is something that I've always had, and I know that I will have with this group.
Coach, you mentioned filling the stands. Is there anything you kind of thought about to kind of continue the popularity of Cal Poly soccer and getting these seats filled outside of the blue-green rivalry?
Yeah, I think we as a team need to get out there and spend time in the community, spend time with soccer groups, get our names and faces out there so that there's a connection between the team and the local community. I know that I personally need to get out there and explain what we want to do to make life fun for these players and to bring a fun and an entertaining environment to the community. This is the only game in town, really. Cal Poly is the only game in town, and there really shouldn't be any other competition. It's not like we're in Los Angeles or in San Diego or in San Francisco. This is the only game in town. And I know that when we put a good product on the field and when we have a connection with the community, they'll come.
Did you get a chance to talk to Phil Ruskin?
Sure, of course I did.
What was that conversation like?
Phil, I got to tell you, Phil did a phenomenal job this year. It's so very difficult. He went from being a volunteer assistant coach to a #1 assistant coach to an interim head coach in a very, very short period of time. Phil Ruskin is, in my opinion, going to have no problem finding employment. He's an outstanding young coach. He's a guy that, the first 2/3 of the season, I think the team was one of the top in the country. Then I think due to some injuries and some unfortunate results towards the end of the season, they didn't make the conference playoffs. But I don't think that takes away from the job that he did. I think he stepped in at a very, very difficult time. And in talking with him, he is going to be very cooperative in the transition of this whole process. And spoke to him 2 days ago. And he's a very classy, professional individual, and he's going to make it easy for me to transition.
Steve, I'm covering for my daughter who is working for Fox Sports West. Okay. So she sent me a text and said, I have to ask you this question. Considering the growth of the academy program and the level of talent here in Southern California and your enthusiasm to support the local communities here, how extensive will your research be with the Southern California teams?
Well, what a great question. For the Fox website, right? So given that Fox Soccer Channel is a very, very influential soccer outlet in this country, look, there's no question that we are in a state of incredible wealth as far as soccer players are concerned. To be honest, there's enough wealth of talent here where I don't even have to look outside the state. But I know there are people of quality that want to come to Cal Poly, both outside of California and internationally. So we will measure that and we'll take that into account. But the academy programs, both in Northern California and Southern California, are exceptional. I would hopefully, without disrespecting anybody in the rest of the country, I consider, especially Southern California, one of the top soccer areas in the country, as is the Northern California. And so I think, you know, my staff and my focus is going to be just that, for the most part, in the state of California. Any other questions?
Yeah, this one's for Don again. What are the terms of the contract, the length and the salary?
We are dialing that in right now. I will get that to you after a while.
Okay.
But we're working on that right now.
Okay.
It's at HR, and I can't say that until they sign off on it. So I'll get that to you later.
Understood. And for Steve, is this a stepping stone?
More than a year.
Yeah. Is this
More than 2 years.
Yes. Is this a stepping
It's all
stone
right.
for you for anywhere? I mean, as somebody who's done it all at this point, I mean, where do you want to go after this, or is this? I'll let you say it. I mean, what's next for you after
When
this?
you've done it all, you want to do it again. Seriously. You know, I don't know of any coach that's competitive, that's won a national championship, that doesn't want to turn right around and do it again. You know, and quite frankly, it gives me a lot of, it's quite a challenge. I would love to do it on 3 different campuses. You know, so there's so much opportunity here. And like I said earlier, I love nothing more than being on that soccer field with these players. And the spirit to win, the desire to win. You know, I took a little bit of time off after I left the Galaxy. To be honest, my president passed away for the LA Galaxy, and that was very difficult for me. And I took a little bit of time off, and I wanted to reconnect with family and reconnect with the community. But I have this incredible burning desire right now to get on that field and start winning.
So do you still have aspirations to go pro and get back in the pro game or in the international game?
I have no aspirations to coach at the professional level. I can say that publicly. Produce it. Put it on Fox. Put it on ESPN. Okay? All right? Been there, done that. I won the double. I'm very proud of that. I participated in 3 World Cups. Why not participate in the level of soccer that you love the most? And that's the collegiate level.
Maybe it's too soon to ask, but assistant coaches, staff-wise, is that something that you've settled on, or is that?
No. I told the players today that I will have an answer for them when they come back in January. So we're vetting that now. I want to make sure that we have the very best staff possible for these guys.
And then you talked a little bit about the Big West, but can you characterize the Big West Conference in the context of the national scene? It seems like you've been paying a lot of attention over the past few years. Can you talk about the conference in general here and what the challenge is to compete in this conference?
I told my players earlier today that I wasn't going to talk about Santa Barbara until 2 days prior to the next time we play Santa Barbara. But I guess for the purpose of this, I'll mention the Santa Barbara name. By the way, my daughter went to UCSB, so that'll make for interesting talk when the game comes up. But certainly they've won a national championship there. They have a very good program. Tim Von Steeg does a great job. Chris Volk at UC Irvine now in his first year has done an incredible job. There are those that would say probably that George Kuntz left him with a very good squad, but bottom line is that he led those players, and beat some very good teams in the NCAA playoffs. And so That's a program on the rise, and certainly George Kuntz in his very first year at Cal State Fullerton, going from Irvine to Fullerton, participating in the NCAAs. I mean, and certainly I think Mike Lindenberger at San Francisco State, at the Sac State, is one of the best coaches in the country, and one of the best young coaches in the country. I've known him for many, many years. Terry Davila at Northridge, you know, you never know with them. They're a little bit inconsistent, but on any given year, they can make the playoffs and get into the NCAAs. So I think the commitment that Cal Poly is making to the sport of both men and women's soccer here is making a statement to not only the Big West but across the country. And I think, having heard some of the rumors before today, that and I quite frankly, I'm very proud that I'm hearing these kinds of comments. Is that, for example, Terry Davila said that, wow, Big West is now going to be taken very, very seriously. Not that it wasn't taken seriously before, but we continue to raise the bar. And I think that's the attitude that they're taking now. So the better coaches, the better emphasis that is put by each one of the institutions on men and women's soccer is only going to raise the awareness, and certainly when it comes time for that NCAA committee to make decisions, the strength of the conference is going to allow us to have more than just our conference champion in the NCAAs.
Two questions. Coach, talking about Phil and talking about the staff you're going to have in the future, is he in consideration? Is he in the ballpark?
I've not made any decisions on anyone at this point. To be honest, I want the input of my leaders on the team with respect to that decision, and all the current coaches are in the mix. I have a list of my own, and together with the leadership of the team, we'll make that decision going forward.
Great. And then second question was for you, Don. Kind of same aspect. Did you get a chance to talk to Phil? And you know, what was that conversation, and how did that go?
It went very well. Phil did a tremendous job. I want to echo what Steve said. He's an amazing gentleman. I think he did a wonderful job with these young men. We had a successful campaign, and Phil left his fingerprints all over this program. So he has my respect, and I agree with what Steve said. He's going to land somewhere great. He's going to be a fantastic head coach. It's just not going to be at Cal Poly this year. We've got Steve for that. But I did speak with Phil on multiple occasions, and actually just talked to him the other day. You know, I appreciate him for all his efforts, and he's got my respect, and he's going to have my help for whatever's next in his career.
Any additional questions for Steve or Don?
I just wanted to wrap up real quick if I could. I really want to thank everybody for coming. This is really an exciting day. I couldn't be more excited about having a gentleman like Steve Sampson lead our program. To the young men in our program, I appreciate your patience with us as we went through this process, and it's going to be a great day next season for Cal Poly Soccer. Thank you for coming, everybody.